Good evening and welcome everyone to our Take the Course, Share the Power webinar. We would like to say you could have done many other things this evening, but you chose to be with us here at the Citizens Campaign. I'd like to introduce you to our panel that's going to introduce us to our course. Leadership and No Blame Problem Solving is the name of our course. Take this course and share the power. We are encouraging everyone that's on with us this evening to do just that. To introduce you to the course, we have Bart Oatis. He is here with us. You see him there on the screen. Joanna Country, Michelle Curry, Harry Pazinski. I am Carol Dortchright. I am so happy to be your host this evening. I will take you through and introduce all of our speakers on this great panel. And at the very end, we will give you the opportunity to express your questions and to be an active part of this great webinar. We're going to start it off with Bart Oatis. I'm sure for those of you that enjoy the sport of football, and then for those that don't know what football is, we've got someone very special who is a special partner with us at the Citizens Campaign, and that is Bart Oatis. He is the president of the National Football Association Alumni Association. Bart also is a 3 times Super Bowl champion. Bart, thank you for being here with us. And I'd like to turn it over to you at this time. Bart Oatis.
Carol, thank you so much. And I am honored to be on this panel and to be part of this wonderful organization. As a football player, I played many years for the Giants and the 49ers. And every week that we had a game, the week prior to that, we would get this rather thick book that would be our game plan. And then we would have that game plan and we would implement that game plan during the game. We'd practice it all week and then implement it in the game that we played on Sunday. And I remember just recently, I happened to be looking through some of my memorabilia and I pulled out the game plan that we had for the New York Giants in 1990 for the Super Bowl. Wow. Against the Buffalo Bills. I haven't looked at it and I just coincidentally pulled it out. And in it was the plays that we had practiced and the defenses that we were going to play against and then what we needed to do to execute. And we were playing a very good team. And as it was, we wound up winning that game 20-19. The reason I point that out is because the similarities, the correlation between that and this organization, the Citizens Campaign Leadership and No Blame Problem Solving course, allows you to do that, to be successful, allows you to know what needs to be done, who you need to work with, how it's going to be done so that you can be successful in the municipal setting, in the county setting, so that you can help and improve your community. And that's so important. Knowledge is power. And that's what this allows you to have, is it gives you that knowledge to interact and to do what's necessary within the framework that's set up, right? When I walked on a football field, there's a white lines. And that meant I'm into a different world. And I actually was very comfortable in that world as opposed to being on the sidelines sometimes because it was regulated, you knew exactly. And so once you learn those rules and learn how to play the game, it became very rewarding and very successful. From football. And the same thing is with this program, allowing you in this arena, right, the municipal county arena, to be successful with that problem. right? To be a problem solver, to
Mm.
enable to bring together the right people, the right citizens to make a difference. And then be able to share this power with your friends and your neighbor and your fellow citizens, right? To grow it so that other people understand and get in. And so you just need a few people that are passionate about this. Now, as part of the NFL Alumni Association, as president, we have 40 chapters around the country, and our members live in just about every community. Our primary goal is helping our communities, caring for our communities and caring for kids. That's our primary goal, and that's what our chapters do. And so this just lays perfectly with what we try to do as former NFL players, trying to make a difference in our community. And so this is a being able to renew and sustain our democracy. And we're just trying to create a new generation of people that are going to be leaders, going to make a difference in the community. And that's what this effort is all about. And that's why the NFL Alumni Association is all in. Thank you, Carol.
Bart, thank you so much. And especially for mentioning knowledge is power. And that's what we're doing here tonight. This course is jam-packed with great knowledge. Take the course, share the power. You'll have the power, and many others that you share it with will have it as well. Bart, your words were so encouraging, inspiring. Thank you for being our partner. I'd like to introduce you also to another powerhouse at the Citizens Campaign. I'm talking about Michelle Curry. She's the lead manager and developer of our Civic Trust and their Citizen Leadership Center counterparts on community college campuses around the country. Yes, I said around the country. Michelle's got extensive experience in our programs. She's been a longtime volunteer member of the Citizens Campaign community, serving as a Newark Civic Trustee. Michelle, what a great honor to have you on our team and to have you here this evening on this wonderful webinar. Talk to us.
I appreciate being part of a team that is driven and that is rooted into sharing the power and sharing the knowledge. So I thank you all for doing what we do every day. As a Newark Civic Trustee, I get to work with people who are rooted in their community, who live in their community, who work in their community, and who are looking to address issues in the community to leave it better than they found it. And we do this through advanced solutions using a 10-step no blame process. I call it the marriage of practice and theory. We are able to take what we learn and use it in our community to make it better. And that's what this online course will help us do better and help you do better. It is to provide you with the tools and the resources that you need to be effective in political, governmental, and civic arenas. And I can't say more about this process than except that I joined because I wanted to make this world better for the people who were important to me. And it became so much bigger than that. And all of us at the Civic Trust, all of the trustees are looking forward to making not just their footprint, not just building their legacy, but creating a sustainable community that we can all thrive in. So as a trustee, we use this no blame solving method because actually it kind of doesn't matter how we got to where we are. We just need to make where we are better. And that's the theory behind this. So we emphasize by coming together and by creating a common ground of solutions. We focus on those solutions and evidence-based solutions, and we're able to pull people together from different points of view, political, all different types of point of view. And we can find common ground and we can find ways to move forward together as a community. So in Newark, let me give you an example. When I was in school, when I was in high school, we did civics. We learned how this country runs. We learned how people who reside in this country are empowered to make it better. Well, my children and other children after my generation weren't so lucky. They didn't always have civics inside their school. So that was one of the topics, one of the challenges that we took up at the Civic Trust in Newark. And we were able to work with the school board, to work with the superintendent, and to work with other learning institutions within the city of Newark. And we required them to teach power civics, to give our children the opportunity to understand the value of their voice and their power. And by putting our power together, we thus enabled the city and those people who reside in it to now have the access to this particular concept of no blame and civic education. So that is one of the ways that we were able to partner with Mayor Raz Baraka, to partner with the citizens of Newark and Newark People's Assembly, which is a base of approximately 2,500 citizens in Newark, and give them the opportunity to take this online course to further their knowledge in civics, to further their desire to make their communities better. That's just one example of some of the topics that our Civic Trusts have attacked and have worked on and nurtured through this system of no blame. I have to say that when I took the leadership course online, yes, I did, even after being in a Civic Trust for 5 years, I know that there's still a lot to learn. So I took the leadership and no blame problem solving course, and truly it will equip you to not just be effective, but to be confident in sharing the power and the knowledge that you've acquired, and to encourage those around you in your community that you work with, that literally own businesses and work in the community that you reside in, to come together for a common cause. And that's to make our community better and to empower the voices of the people who live in those communities. And once we are able to even out that particular social equity, then we can begin to impact the political culture and equity in our communities. So with that being said, I will get off my soapbox and I'll turn it back over to Carol.
Michelle, I love you being on that soapbox. You said in the very beginning, this course is going to help us to leave our communities much, much better. And I believe everyone that's here this evening, that's on this panel, agrees totally with you. I'd like to, for those of you that are just coming on to our webinar, thank you is what I want to say first. And thank you for being here to hear more about leadership and no blame problem solving. Take the course, share the power. At this point, I'd like to bring to the microphone Harry Pozinski. Harry, I know I am pronouncing your last name not the way you would pronounce it, but you'll help me later on with that. I know, but I just want everyone to know that Harry is the founder. He's the chairman of the board of the Citizens Campaign. And you know, he's our 24/7 volunteer extraordinaire. Harry, talk a bit about this course. Talk about how this course is going to help us to share the power. Thank you for all you do, too.
Thank you, Carol. And from now on, just call me Harry.
Okay.
It's a lot easier. So look, you know, the bottom line is that we need to do a lot as individual citizens now to heal our country and get our country back on the path of practical problem solving. For too long, we've kind of looked at this country as having its leadership from the top down. We vote and we pass over all of our power to our elected representatives. and we expect them to take care of us. That's not going to work in the 21st century, and especially with the country divided the way it is. We each have to take personal responsibility for healing the country and for solving its problems. And I'm here to tell you tonight that you have more power than you think you have. You know, you voted already, you may have protested, but now what? You need to do more than just talk about policy. And I'm here also to tell you that power precedes policy. If you want to get fair policy, there has to be a fair distribution of the political power. Everyone has to have access to the fullness of their political power. And that's what this course teaches. So we're going to teach you, as Bart pointed out, how to get in the game of government decision-making, so you can bring your own solutions across the goal line and score. So to get in the game, you need to know a lot of things. And that's what this course is going to teach you about. The first thing it's going to teach you is, where are the playing fields? You know, where are the primary playing fields of government decision-making? You probably know about the mayor and council. They solve a lot of the problems and deal with a lot of the issues in your community. And you may also know that the planning board is part of the problem-solving process. They adopt the master plan that controls physical development, fair housing, environmental issues, all of that decided finally at the planning board. And then there is the school board, oh so important. The school board that educates our future leaders. And Michelle just gave you an example of how you can go before your own school board and get things done there. And finally, there's a fourth playing field. We call it the hidden power center. It's the political parties. Every community has a political party, Democrat and Republican, at the local level, often with neighborhood elected representatives. And if you know about these four playing fields and you know how to enter the playing fields and get into the game, that's just the beginning. So what do you need to know next? You need to know the rules of the game. And this course will teach you that there are new rules that came about just in the beginning of this 21st century, that teach you how to get the policy details of any current policy in the area of your interest. And they also teach you how you can initiate your own solutions. Before the turn of this century, you could only comment on laws that were being adopted by your elected officials. But now you can find out how the current law is working or not working. And you can learn how to find laws from other communities that are working there and bring them into your own town council, school board, planning board, or even into the party platform of your political party. So the rules of the game are very important, and you'll learn them here. Another thing you need to know if you're going to play the game is you need to know about the equipment. And the most important piece of equipment in the game of government decision-making in the 21st century is the search engine. Because you can take any issue that you care about, and with just the tap of a Google search or other type of search engine, you can find solutions that are working in communities similar to your own. You don't have to be a policy expert to come up with an idea. You can find out something that's working and has evidence of success. And if it has evidence behind it, it's much easier to get adopted. I don't know who said it before, but citizens who have taken this training have passed over 300 local laws, many of them even going to the state level. And it's not because we're all policy geniuses, it's just because we know how to use the search engine to find solutions. Now, the next thing you need to know is, what are the positions that you can take on the playing field? Not everybody is the pass receiver or the quarterback or the center. So what are the positions in the non-elected offices of government decision-making? The first is an appointed position. Now, you've heard about boards like the planning board or the zoning board, and you can get appointed to them. It might surprise you that most communities have dozens of boards and commissions, rent control boards, human rights commissions, and so on and so forth. And they're often filled with vacant positions. So if you know how, and we teach you how to take one of those positions, you can become an appointed official in the area of your interest. Another position would be the local political party official. These are positions where you're elected in your own neighborhood, often with a couple dozen votes. We often say if you got a big family, you can get elected. If you have a lot of friends, you can get elected. It doesn't take much. And I'll point out to you too that quite often, and we did a statewide survey, a third of these positions are vacant. They're just there for the taking. And from that position, you can control the party platform. You can control who gets endorsed for mayor or for Congress. There's a lot of power in those political parties, but most of us don't know about it. That's why they're called the hidden power center. Third position is the solutions advocate. Now, some of you may not be likely to stand up before a government body or even have the time to serve on a board or a commission as an appointed official, but everybody knows how to use social media today. And when you find solutions that have evidence behind them and you share them on social media, you have power because you start to create a conversation in your own community about solutions. Quite often the conversation is just bickering and pointing fingers at each other and going nowhere and complaining about the public officials. But when we change the conversation to a conversation about solutions, then the whole dynamic changes. And being a solutions advocate is something that we'll teach you about. There are many other aspects than just social media to bring your solutions into the public arena, but we'll teach you about that in the solution advocate phase. And last but not least is the civic trustee. Michelle's the perfect example. She's a civic trustee in the city of Newark. I'm a civic trustee in my own community in the city of Perth Amboy. These are positions that if you take this course, you're automatically qualified to take. And you become a civic trustee and you meet in monthly solution sessions. You meet with a couple dozen other citizens who've taken the same training in problem solving, who've taken the same pledge that they're not going to point fingers and blame, that they're going to focus on the solution. So it's a wonderful environment to be together with people that aren't blaming. We have a little something to eat. Sometimes we have to be on Zoom because of COVID, but as soon as that's over, we have a bite to eat. You pick your own solutions and you work together with these other civic-minded individuals, and we have experts that help you with them. So these civic trustees are the ones that have passed hundreds of laws, and that's a powerful position to be on in the playing fields of government decision-making. And the last but not least, Bart said it, you need to have the playbook. You need to at least know what the basic plays of the game are. And these are the plays of the game of no blame problem solving. Now, I'm going to just give you a few examples because if I gave you the whole thing, it'd be the whole course. But the first is called doing the doable. Often we come up with an idea and we want a solution and we want to solve the biggest problem that we possibly can. We bring it before government officials and their heads spin. They got so many problems and they don't have enough money and so on. So doing the doable teaches you how to take your solution, the issue that you want to address, and drill down to something that really is at the core of the problem that you want to handle. And then it teaches you different techniques like piloting your solution. You might, if they're not ready to do it citywide right away, you might say, well, let's just try a pilot and see how it works. It's hard to say no when you're asking a second time like that. Or phasing in the solution. If we've got drug dealing in a park, if we try and do it, eradicate it in every park, they're going to say we don't have enough police, we can't do it all. Let's take one park at a time and see if we can make it work and then phase it in bit by bit. So doing the doable is just one of those plays. Another play really speaks to the heart of the no blame approach. It's called come in complimenting. And what that simply means is when you look up the current policy, and you have to know what the policy is because, as Bart said, knowledge is power. And if you know the policy as well as the elected officials, you're on the same playing field that they are. And if you come in with that solution that you have, and instead of saying, you know, this policy is no good and we've got to change it, and making them defensive, you're really in trouble from the get-go. But if you come in complimenting, and what that means is even if you can only find 1% of the current policy that you agree with, you come in and say, I'd like to compliment the officials here tonight for adopting a policy that has this element in it, the part that you agree with. And I'd like to work with you and build on that. What that play does is it disarms the public officials from being defensive. You're there saying, we're here to help. We know you did at least some good, and we want to help you do better. That's a hard thing to say no to, and it's very effective. I'm going to give you the third play just for your consideration, and it's called respectful pursuit. Now, a lot of times citizens take a lot of time trying to figure out a good solution. and bring it before their governing body or planning board or school board, whomever it may be. And they're listened to by the mayor or the council president. And then the council president will say something like this: "That was wonderful. We can see that you really care about the community. You've done a great deal of research on this. We really appreciate you bringing that to us. Next." And you don't know what happened. You don't know where your proposal went. And quite often it goes into the ether and nothing happens. So the beginning of the strategy of respectful pursuit is you say, "Excuse me, before I leave, can I ask please to whom this proposal that I've made is being referred, to what official or what body or commission this is going to be referred to, and when we can hear back from this public body after you've had a chance to think about it." Now you've got them on the hook. They have to report back. They'll say, "Well, we're going to refer it to the planning board to study it, and I guess we can report back in 30 days. Well, the media that's there might be writing, "Okay, in 30 days, you're going to be back in 30 days. And they have to then grapple with your solution. It doesn't just fly away. So now you can see it. You've got everything that you need to know. You need to, where the playing fields are, where the decision making is happening, and you'll learn the rules of the game there. You'll learn what the rules are for getting the current policy and being able to bring your own solution to bear. You'll learn how to use the search engine as the equipment you need to find solutions. You'll learn what position you can take on the playing field. If you propose the solution, sometimes you want to follow it up by taking an appointed position in that area and pressing it even further. And you've learned how to play the game. There are a lot more plays than I've just gone through. As Bart said, there's a big, thick playbook for every game. So you're going to learn a lot of different plays, and these are plays that regular citizens like yourself have used and have succeeded with. They've scored with their solutions. Now think about this just one moment. Why was Dr. Martin Luther King so powerful when he was against such immense odds? He had a solution, was the Voting Rights Act, and he had a strategy, and his strategy was the policy of nonviolence, the no blame approach. Why did it work? It worked because it kept the focus on the solution. All you need in addition to that is your own persistence, and you can really make things work. So I want to urge you all to take this course. If you do, and you pass it like Michelle did, you'll get a certificate of training in leadership and no blame problem solving. Put it on your resume. Every employer is going to take a look and say, training in leadership and no blame problem solving, I'm going to give another look at that person. But most importantly, when you take the course, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your fellow citizens, you need to share the power. We have a saying at the Citizens Campaign: the more power you share, the more power you have. So please join us in rebuilding our democracy and tackling the problems of the 21st century. God bless you all.
Harry, thank you for just sharing so much about how this course enables us to gain the power and to share the power. And before we bring on our last speaker, I just want to repeat one thing that you said in the very beginning. You have, and I'm saying this to all of our guests here this evening on this webinar, you have more power than you think you have. We're going to talk more about that. It's a part of the course. There's so much that you can gain from going to our website, www.thecitizenscampaign.org. But before you do that, let me introduce our last speaker. This young woman, Joanna Country, comes to us with a very, very impressive set of credentials. She's a scholar, a writer, a lecturer, a researcher, and she's a published author. She's taught in colleges and universities. And most recently, Joanna has worked with community college faculties to develop an online curriculum. She brings her exceptional skills to our team, and we're so fortunate to have you with us, Joanna. Please talk a bit about the course mechanics and the specific highlights. Help us to see a little bit more of this course that we've been hearing about this evening. Joanna, take the mic.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah, I'm going to show you all how to sign up for this course that you've heard so much about now. Yeah, I'm very excited to share this with you. And I see that there are a few people on the call tonight who've already taken the course. So we have some experts in the room. So I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to take you first to our website. So this is the citizenscampaign.org. And I am logged into our Citizen Power portal. It's free to register, so you can create a sign-on. And in the navigation bar, you'll see that the leadership training course is available here in the portal. When you go to the leadership training course, this is the homepage for the course, Leadership and No Blame Problem Solving. There's a link here to buy a hard copy of Citizen Power, our leadership manual, but you'll be able to read an electronic copy while you're in the course itself, and I'll show you that in a minute. There are 10 parts to the course, starting with our introduction. We go through no blame problem solving, local power centers, the content that Harry has just talked us through. In each part, each of the 10 parts has a video. The videos are short, they're only 5 or 10 minutes long. Going through that topic, then you'll see the chapter of the book that pertains to it. And you'll take a little quiz. I promise they're really easy. You can take them as many times as you want. They're open book. And a poll to see how you are interacting with the material and what topics you find interesting. How do you want to apply this in your life? Because we really want to know how people use this training. So to sign up, you'll create an account. You'll enter your name, email, and tell me what city or school you're from. So I'll have a little bit more information. And by creating an account, you'll be able to start the course and then stop and come back and log back in to finish it later if you want. You probably could finish this in a whole day, but it would take a while. So you're welcome to stop and start whenever you have the availability. And you can also take it on your cell phone. Once you're logged into the course, it looks like this. There we go. So on the right, you'll see the course itself, the material, the lesson that you're in. And on the left, there is a nice navigation bar that will show you where you are in the course, and it checks off as you finish each part. So here we're on the homepage, Leadership and No Blame Problem Solving, little introduction to the course. Each video can be viewed directly in the course. It's gonna take a minute. And below each video, you've got an outline with some notes to tell you what's in the video. If you want to take notes, this might be helpful for that. As we move on, we get to the chapter of the book. So in this case, the introduction to the book. That's viewable right here in the course page. And then there's a little survey. I've already taken it. Let's see if I can read another one. So, would you be passionate and enthusiastic about working on the following solutions? Select as many as you want. These are all solutions that we're actively working on or have worked on at the Citizens Campaign. But of course, there's a choice other at the end if there are issues we haven't gotten to yet that you're interested in. The quizzes look pretty similar to the surveys. So, an evidence-based solution is one that has been successfully applied already in communities that blank. So communities that have the biggest populations, have famous people living there, are similar to yours, or have the same name as yours. So just to give you a little cheat sheet, having watched the Power of No Blame Problem Solving video, you'll know that an evidence-based solution is one that's successfully applied already in a community that's similar to yours. So C would be the correct answer. But even if you choose a wrong answer, it has famous people living there, the platform will just tell you this answer is incorrect. You can actually get one wrong and still pass the quiz, but you can always go back and take it as many times as you want. And when you finished all the videos, all the quizzes, there's a survey to ask your views on citizenship so we can see if our course is working or not. And then at the end, you get your certificate of training in leadership and no blame problem solving awarded to you automatically. So that's how the course works. We'll be happy to take any questions if you have logistical questions about it.
If you do have, thank you, Joanna, for that. If you do have any questions, we are asking if you would record them in the chat, and we will take those questions and present them to our panelists. There is one question that I saw, and I'd like to refer it to Michelle Curry. Is this course available to Newark high schools?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's available as part of the curriculum in the high schools in Newark, as well as Rutgers University, NCAS, which I might say is my alma mater. And it is also available to anyone in the community that is able to visit our website, www.thecitizenscampaign.org, and log into our portal and take that online course, which I will tell you from personally taking it, after being a civic trustee for 5 years, I learned things that I did not know. So it is always a work in progress. So log on and take the course. Trust me, it's worth it. It truly is.
Thank you, Michelle. Online, there is a Keisha Ingram who's a part of the webinar here this evening. Thank you for being with us. And she tells us that she is a community organizer in Newark and wants to be more involved. We're going to make certain that we reach out to you, Keisha. Michelle Curry heads up our Civic Trust there in Newark. We would love for you to be a part of that. And as I mentioned, we will be in touch with you. Please, if you would also reach out to Michelle Curry, we will make certain that you get that contact information. Harry, here's a question that I'd like to direct to you. Someone is looking for more information about the book that was published with Rutgers University Press. How can they get a hold of that?
Well, the easy way is to go on to our website. You've heard it before, thecitizenscampaign.org, and just go to the Power Store. There you'll find all sorts of power, but one of the power tools there is the book Citizen Power. It contains all that I talked about in terms of how to get into the game of government decision making. And people have been using earlier versions of this book quite successfully. We're very proud that Rutgers Press has published it now and made it available countrywide. So please do get it. And you know, if you've got a birthday or other event coming up and you need presents for the family, it's a great stocking stuffer for the holidays. So go for it. You'll find it in the Power Store.
Thank you, Harry. Joanna, here's a question for you. I believe Michelle Ruffin presents this. Once you take the course, Joanna, then how do you apply the knowledge?
That might be a better question for Harry than for me. Once you finish the course, one thing that happens is you'll get a message congratulating you and inviting you to join one of the civic trusts. The application to be a civic trustee is on our website under Civic Trust. There's a page about those with some information about the trusts, and at the bottom you can just fill out an application right there, and it will go to the facilitator of that trust, and we'll be very excited to welcome you there.
And I might add, you can take any one of the 4 positions that I mentioned, and the course will be teaching you how to do that. So you might become an appointed official, you might go on the Arts Council or the Human Rights Commission in your own community, you might become a civic trustee, you might learn how to take power within the political party. And we have a national solution sharing platform. And there are solutions that trustees have developed to deal with policing reform and create culture change from a warrior culture to a guardian culture in our police departments. There's solutions that deal with climate change and how your community can buy its electricity in bulk and specify how much carbon-free electricity you get. There are solutions in every area, student conduct. I could go on and on. So all you need to do is take the course, and that opens up a whole range of opportunities for you to participate as an unelected leader, or even just to take a solution into your own community.
Once you go to the website, to the course, can you take it immediately, is what someone is asking, Joanna.
Yeah. The link is already up on our website. Some of our trustees have been taking it already, so it is available. I think somebody asked how long it takes.
Exactly. Yes.
We usually say like a max of 10 hours is what I would budget for it. I think some of you will speed through it a little faster.
Okay.
Yeah, and I might add, you can view the videos. They're 5 to 7 minutes each, so you could be sitting on the bus or waiting in the dentist's office and become empowered. So you can take these in bite-sized pieces. You don't have to take it all at once. And I've known people that have done the entire course in less than 2 hours. So it just depends upon how much you want to concentrate and focus your time on it. But really, it is bite-size available to anyone.
Bart, here's a question for you. Are you in touch with all of the retired football players? Someone wants to know. Bart,
Sorry, I was muted. Sorry about that.
that's okay.
I think that's the phrase for 2020. You're on mute. I contact, and in touch with many of them, but not all of them. There's thousands and thousands, but primarily you tend to gravitate towards your teammates, your former teammates. And so I'm fortunate to live here in New Jersey, and we have many of the former players who, just as myself, I didn't grow up here, but we decided to stay here and raise our families here. So there's many of my former teammates that live nearby, and we get together often.
As I mentioned earlier, Bart, it's such a great honor. What a great pleasure it is to have you as a partner with the Citizens Campaign, with all of your experience, and then how you're relating it to what we do at the Citizens Campaign. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Someone in the chat room talked about this being a wealth of information, this webinar. Harry, you think we're going to do any more of these?
As many as people require. You know, my wife commissioned me to found this Citizens Campaign and told me that I wasn't allowed to quit until we had a functioning democracy. So I think I've got a little bit of work ahead of me, and I'm so grateful for the team that I have that works morning, noon, and night to make this possible. But we'll reach out and we'll help anybody that wants to heal our democracy and move our country forward.
Before I take another question, you mentioned team, and I can't close out tonight with thanking a very special young woman on our team, Caitlin Serpy, and she is our webmaster, our webinar manager, our full-time marketing person. We want to thank you, Kate. She's behind the scenes. You can't see her. Thank you, Caitlin, for the great work that you've done in pulling this together. Thank you. Let's go back to our Q&A room. And I believe there was one more question. Can you tell us some of the areas of community work in which some of the participants have gone into after taking the course? Joanna, you want to address that?
So some of the areas we talk about on our national solution sharing platform, the main ones we're focusing on are student codes of conduct, in public schools, and the practices around student discipline, trying to reduce the number of suspensions, keep kids in school, reduce the dropout rate. Harry mentioned some climate change related clean energy solutions we've gotten into, and our de-escalation, culture change, policing reform, and our public safety. You can read more about that on our National Solution Sharing platform. The trainees of the Citizens Campaign, many of them have also gone into government, either in appointed positions, government jobs. Government is a huge employer. It's not actually something we explicitly train people to do, but once they start showing up to public meetings with solutions in hand, people want them to serve, and we're very excited about that too.
Thank you, Joanna. There is a question that I'm sure many people want to know the answer to, and that is, what's the cost?
It's free.
How much? That's it?
That's an easy one.
That's absolutely. We certainly do want to thank everyone that has participated, has been on this webinar. We're going to give each of our panelists an opportunity just to quickly, briefly wrap up their presentations tonight, whether it's to invite you all to visit the website or whatever. We're going to give each of them a brief opportunity to do just that. We're going to start with Bart. Again, thank you. Bart, your closing remarks.
Well, I'm just saying, join the team, get in the game. That's what I'm going to encourage everyone to do. It's pretty simple. The curriculum is there. The playbook is available. Just need your effort, need your passion to get in there, make a difference, so that you and your community and those who live in your community can live a much healthier, happier, and successful life.
I'm going to use that, Bart. I'm going to tell folks to get in the game. Michelle, let's hear from you.
Well, I would say exactly, just to piggyback on what Bart said, absolutely get in the game. Understand the value that your voice has and empower those around you to make changes, to move forward, to create a community that all of us would love to live in, a community that's full of transparent communication, a community that allows our children to thrive, a community that embraces our seniors and cares for those that can't care for them. That is what this course and this organization empowers us to do. It empowers us to make the change that we all wish we could be a part of. Well, here's your chance. So jump on in, come join us. We are moving towards something that makes us whole. Come on in.
Thank you, Michelle. Joanna?
Been thinking about, I used to be a college professor, and I didn't often teach people how to go out and start taking action. We were just sort of talking about ideas in the classroom, and it's really exciting to be offering a course that gets people out there and helping make their communities better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Harry, before I turn it over to you, I just want to give a shout out to Russell Hicks. He is from our Civic Trust there in Philadelphia. Thanks, Russell, for being with us on this evening. Harry, your closing remarks, please.
Well, I guess the only thing that I can say is one of the great benefits of becoming a problem solver is it reduces the turnover in your stomach from sitting on the sidelines and being frustrated and not being able to get things done. If you can just imagine an American public where all of us put our own efforts behind making this a better country, bringing our own solutions to bear, tapping the genius of the American people, and not waiting for our elected officials to solve every problem, but taking personal responsibility, I think you'd find a very, very happy place to live. I can tell you that since I've gotten involved, I meet the nicest people because they're coming to it with unselfish service. They're not looking for a number one on their license plate. They're just looking to help their fellow citizens. And it's a wonderful feeling. So I invite you all to share and enjoy that same feeling.
Thank you, Harry. And there are many other questions I see that are coming in for our panelists. I would love to kind of wrap this up by inviting everyone to please visit our portal. You can get there by going to www.thecitizenscampaign.org. Also on social media, why not follow us? We are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Please like us, follow us, get to know what we are doing, and we are on the verge of creating an exciting, our work is very exciting now, but as we get further into the game, Bart, things are going to be on fire. Hey, thank you all for being here with us this evening. It's been our honor sharing with you leadership and no blame problem solving. Take the course, share the power. Thank you for being here with us. Good night to everyone.
Good night.